Hello everybody, welcome to Crystal's Connection Because of You Nugget. I have had a lot of people interested in narcissism. It just seems to be one of the number one subjects that's coming up, especially with females. And believe it or not, a lot of males also, but females seems to be asking it the most and having the most concerns about it. Anyway, let's see here. What I want to do. Okay, first I'm going to start off with prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for everything you've given us. In the name of thy Son and by the power of the Holy Spirit, be the words of our mouth, the meditation of our heart. And help us to just do your will, whatever it may be. Give us wisdom, knowledge, and good understanding. Don't let us be deceived in anything. In thy holy name, yay! Go God. Amen, amen, and amen. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. All right. Okay, so I'm looking this up, and what is a narcissistic behavior? And I'm looking it up, and I'm like, okay, so let's find it in the Bible. So I found the verse that actually, in my opinion, describes it very well, and then a few others' opinion also. I was checking out one spot where this dude was saying, you can look in the Bible and you could read about where Paul's really concerned about it in 2 Timothy, the 3rd chapter, verses 1 through 7. And this is where Paul's warning Timothy about it. One of the apostles, he's warning him about it. And that is about people who act out in the self-love, with this self-love attitude. And I'm not talking about where the Lord says, we got to love ourselves where we love others. I'm talking about a dangerous kind of self-love, a love that's where you think about nobody but yourself. Everything is about you. You. Okay, and really, in my opinion, somebody like that really they're so full of low self-esteem. They're trying to prove it's all about them. They're trying to prove their value when they don't have no value in themselves. But that's my opinion. But anyway, Paul goes on to describe it. What I think is a good description of it. Let's see. Let me read it here. He says, but know this, that in the last days perilous times will come. Men will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, and I should say grandparents also, unthankful, unholy, unloving, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control. And that is so true, and ungrateful, anyway, brutal, despisers of good. And how is that? So many people today, that's just like anything's good, they despise it. Anything that's good. So that is just so, scary actually. Traitors, they're headstrong, they're haughty, they're lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God. Having a form of godliness but denying its power. And then this is what he says about that. And from such turn away. I think a lot of people actually just call that a narcissistic personality that everybody seems to be becoming so familiar with. I mean, it's crazy. All you're going to do is look around and it's everywhere, this narcissistic personality. I mean, there you are. You got the kids that are so disobedient, disrespectful, this you owe me attitude. Totally ungrateful. This ungrateful about everything. You have... I mean, everybody is. It's just like a give me, I deserve it world. And that's the way Paul describes it. From everything I've heard and everything I learned, that just totally reminds me of narcissistic personality all over. It's just crazy. And a lot of people say, well, God says for us to love ourselves. And yes, he does. We got to love others as ourselves. And we have to love ourselves in order to love others. And but the thing about this is what a narcissist does is not love, is not loving in the context that God's given you there. What they're doing, they're just being totally selfish. They think when you love yourself, you care about your health, you care about your body, you care about other people. When you are loving yourself, a good indication when you're loving yourself is when you're actually loving other people, not being another person's fix, Don't get it mixed up. You're not being another person's fix at all. You're not being another person's slave. You actually loving that person. That means, well, we'll just deal with that at some other point. Don't get us sidetracked on that. I guess you could say, when we're looking at it, narcissism goes back over 2,000 years. They just didn't have a name for it at that time. Okay, let's see what Paul says. Okay, so he says, a narcissist is, for men will be lovers of themselves. Okay, so what is a lover of themselves? Basically, what a lover of themselves is a false love. It's a reflection of themselves. It's something that they think they want to be, or just a false love of themselves. And the reason being, for what I'm understanding and for what I've read, and it's because when a narcissist loves, and when they're trying to love themselves, and we talk about love, self-love, it's not really that they are loving themselves. They really fully, they're hating themselves, and so they feel like they gotta just erase who they are really, or they just own themselves to a point, because they really are unable to love their true selves. They just make up this reflection of who they are and what they deserve and everything else, and there you are. It's a false love. Well, just look at what's happening in society today. We have people out there they're saying they love themselves, but apparently they don't love themselves, because they're still so full of self-hatred. They're trying to have everybody else fix the wrong they feel about themselves. That's not self-love. That's a false love for yourself. When you're trying to get somebody else to fix what you feel like you lack, that is nothing to do with loving yourself. That's false love. Anyway, it's kind of just like they got to try to get some kind of fix or some kind of supply wherever they can get it, and that's usually whatever feeds their appetites, what makes them feel good about themselves. And usually doing that, it ends up coming to a point where I think they try to make people feel bad about themselves. They try to make people feel bad about themselves so they can feel good about themselves. And it's crazy. Okay, then we have lovers of money. And to me, that would be less like, so they can keep up this facade, this false image of who they think they are. So they feel like people put them on a pedestal, or so they can put their self on a pedestal. And they want people to think they're wealthy. They want, or something like that. Or even if they don't have the money, they want to be around, in my opinion, they want to be around people that makes them feel like they're wealthy, or makes them get that look on them. Kind of like if I'm standing next to you, or if I'm in your crowd, I'm going to look like I'm if I'm in a rich man's crowd, then I want to look like I'm a rich man, kind of thing. Or just any type of what would I want to call that? Recognition or something like that. Anything like that. Basically, just in some form or another, they want to be worshipped, and they want to feel like everybody is worshiping him, And so I call that, that's like lovers of money do. They want to use it. They want to feel like they're being worshipped, and people's coming to them and holding them in high esteem just because they have money. They associate with money with a place of power, and not a just a place of power, and what some people would call a kingship. Personally, I just think it's not a kingship. I personally think they just want to look great and feel great about it, and they're using money as a way to do it again, to get that fix. Getting that fix off with using money. They seek approval. They want that social approval, and that's kind of what narcissists do. They look for an approval that's social or of entitlement. I don't know. It's just it's crazy. They're just always looking for ways, usually always looking for a way to make money or hanging around people that has money. And then Paul also says, okay, he says boasters. Okay, so what is boasting? Well, according to me, boasting is just basically that's another trait of a narcissist. They boast about everything, and then they exaggerate, and they boast and they exaggerate about their achievements, their success, or just anything like that, or they're wanting to reach that. They just boast about everything, anything that's going to make them look big or have this grandiose image. That's what they're looking for. They kind of, to me, a narcissist really is really envies people. They're jealousy. They're jealous. That's what they are. Jealous. They're jealous of anybody that they perceive that can do better than them, or anybody they perceive that has better than them. Or if somebody has something they want. It's kind of like they'll use seduction in order to attract people and get what they want out of them. And then, of course, after they do that, then after the person gives them what they want, using seduction in whatever form, whether it's in a way for a sexual means or just physical means or just natural means to anything in any way whatsoever, they'll use seduction in order to get it. And then after they get it, then they don't respect you anymore, or they just toss you away after they get what they can get out of you. You're just basically disregarded, because then you're just, I don't know what it is. I don't really know why. They just seem like they just throw you away or something like that for whatever reason. They just disregard you. I don't know if they just won something. I don't really know what the reason is for that, but they do. Or they seem to. Again, that's just part of what people that truly have no self-worth do. They try to make you feel bad about who you are, mainly. Okay. And then I'm sitting there and I was reading on this where this guy says in one of his articles, I'd have to go look it up and see who it is. But anyway, a lot of people say it, so it could be anybody. A lot of people say whenever you're around a narcissist, basically what you got to get used to after the facade, after everything, after they kind of get their hooks into you. And if you don't lose sight of kind of studying them out, then, which I'd say if we looked at it, we'd probably see it to start with. We just don't look for it. But anyway, anytime you're in a relationship with one, these boasters, these lovers of money, the ones that's full of false self-love, anytime you're with them, it's always all about I, me, mine, and you know it. Just get used to it all being about them. Everything's going to be about them. And if you manage to get anything in at all about yourself, they're going to get bored with you. That's just simple. They're going to get bored with you. Anyway, that's another thing. Okay, then Paul, he also says about pride. Proud, being prideful, proud. Well, pride comes before the fall, right? Oh, Satan himself, Lucifer, is full of pride, Somebody is very prideful. They just convince themselves like they think they're above everything, they're so superior to everybody else. They're so superior to this or that, And oh my stars, criticism. They cannot take constructive criticism basic at all. They don't seem like they can. They kind of see it to me as like if you're like trying to, I don't know if they just, if they're taking it as a shame, or if they're taking it as you're cutting down their, I don't know, their perceived image of their self. I don't know really what it is, but for some reason it's just like they are so full of pride. And they usually kind of, I don't know, some of them even, I've seen them, all my stars, this one I know personally, it was which I didn't recognize it then, but now I know what it was. Anytime you try to even get constructive criticism, I mean, nothing, not even really criticizing, just saying something that they took, even when it wasn't even said in no such a way, even meant in no such a way, or even if it wasn't even inferred to them, they would grab it. They were so prideful and so full of pride, they would grab it as something you were setting against them. And oh my goodness, really kind of get almost abusive to a point. But anyway, it's if you address some kind of magical thinking they have, or just whatever it is, it's they're not really good with that. They're not good with that. But that's just one form of it. It's just any kind of pride that's or proud in what it is to. I call it a false pride, or false being proud of yourself falsely. This an evil. I think you got a good pride, and I think Paul's not talking about that. I think he's talking because a good pride, you hold pride in your appearance. You hold pride and pride in who you are as a person, as a child of God. A good kind of pride. There's a healthy pride, but then this is a bad pride. Bad good. This is bad. This is false. Basically, they're always right. They're always right in their own mind. Always right. So, okay, and Paul said, what else? Blasphemers. Okay. I've never really quite been sure exactly what they meant by blasphemers. I've seen so many definitions of blasphemers, but I was reading one where it kind of made sense as far as going towards a narcissist. And it says, right here, it says a narcissist cannot handle being upstaged in any way. And I'd say that is so true. A narcissist can't. You can't seem like you're more in any ways whatsoever. They don't like it to be more intelligent than them, more successful than them, even more beautiful than them. I don't know, just anything. I know this one person that they were so, I don't know what it's called, but even nobody was even always just, never mind, I ain't going to say that. If they're here and they'll get, it'll be issues. No, shut up. Christiel, shut up, don't say nothing. Alrighty then. Just put it this way. If you want to become an enemy of a narcissist, disagree with them. Don't see things the way they see it. Don't think for yourself. That's just simple. You will become an enemy of the narcissist if you think for yourself. You become an arch enemy, an instant rival. Hey! And that may be going a little bit too far, but it really feels true, And they are so good at character assassination. I've never seen nothing like it. I mean, you have psychiatrists, all these professionals, health professionals, going and getting special training to learn how to deal with narcissists, because even they can be fooled by it. They're so good. Even a psychiatrist, psychologists can be fooled by narcissists. They can. And I really say don't ever go in one-on-one. Always get a group to deal with them, because that's how good narcissists are. So then when they start assassinating somebody's character, lying on them, assassinating their character, I mean, a lot of people believe them. I mean, people who know who you are and has been around you for years. A narcissist is so good at this that they will have people believe in lies, because they will blaspheme your name. They will do what they have to tear you down. If you are not in agreement with them if you pose any type of threat whatsoever to their self-image or who they think that they are, their false self. And whether it's real or imagined, and most of the time it's imagined. Most of the time it's so imagined. If you try to expose them or say anything that's being done, oh my stars. Tell the truth about anything. A narcissist could pull a knife on you and then it's your fault. Somehow, because you defended yourself, you're in the wrong, you're in the bad, so they start this character assassination. By the time they finish telling the story, it's innocent, it's victim them and abuser you. That's the way narcissists work. That's true. But see, the thing about this is oh Lord, people can believe it. Many narcissists, they act on the God complex. They really basically consider themselves, as some people say, as basically, I don't know, like Satan did. He wanted to be God. He thought himself is equal with God. Even in my opinion, that's what he did. And I don't know, sometimes some narcissists, not all, just depending to whatever level, they think they're really above God in a lot of ways, or equal to anyway. And really, they shouldn't have to submit to themselves to us people, us humanoids. Yes, I know. I'm sorry. Okay. And they're disobedient to parents. Paul says disobedience to parents. Oh, my stars. A narcissist is, they don't like any kind of authority. Parents, grandparents, bosses, anything, anybody that they perceive has any kind of authority over them, they just do not like it. And if they do, oh, my stars. They become a target of their wrath. I mean, you got to think. They with their mentality of self-entitlement, they don't know. They're all about they're all about themselves. They're all about themselves. And they hate anybody that tries to get them to be accountable for any of the actions they do. They just hate you. That's simple. They hate you. And then again, the character assassination starts in. Because it's a place of authority. They have their laws. They have a set of laws for them and a set of laws for you. All right? And anybody that goes against them, oh my stars, it's bad. And their laws fit them. And also their laws can really change. Just according to whatever it is they're trying to fix in themselves or whatever it is they're trying to get by with or whatever. Anyway, I don't know, and maybe they're their own law, I guess that would be that little bit of that sense of God mentality they get, I guess. Oh, don't get me wrong, they know how to play the game. They know how to play the game. Oh, my stars. I think they got a lot of players and breadcrumbing attributes with them, as far as some of them do. They know how to play the game. To me, people give a narcissist a lot of times this one clear-cut personality traits from what I've been reading and studied and listening to. They give them all these, a lot of times, clear-cut personality traits, but I think some of them are different levels of it, and some of them grab it, whatever place they're at. A lot of narcissist players, a lot of narcissist Jezebels. There's a lot of narcissists wherever they're at. So really, that's just getting into that at some other point. That was another whole subject in itself too. It's just kind of like they think they're gods, or to me, They want authority, and if they have authority, they misuse their authority, they abuse their authority. Oh my goodness, pretty bad. And they constantly looking for somebody that's going to make them feel like, I don't know, feed them. I don't know, give them their fix is what I call it. Their fix, their God fix is what I call it. I don't know what it's called or what psychiatrists or psychologists or the medical world calls them. But to me, it's just like they're getting their God fix. You know, they demand their total obedience and control over their dominion, their domain. Dominion, listen to me. Okay. Anyway, on to the next one. Unthankful. Paul says that they're unthankful. Okay. Wow. Now that's another one. They may say they're thankful, and they may, just like they can even say they're sorry if they think that's, even when they're not. If it gets them what they want, they're going to say what they think you want to hear, until after they've got you reeled back in, if they think they're losing you. Well, again, that's another one. Anyway, Paul says that they can be unthankful. And that's because they feel like they're entitled. In my opinion, that's because they feel like you owe them. They feel like they're entitled to things. They're ungrateful. They think that they deserve everything that you get. Today's society has trained kids, even training kids to grow up, because I'm a kid, I deserve everything. I mean, in other words, parents has become the slaves, grandparents has become the slaves, and they've become the ones, in other words, there's this commercial comes on, and this to me is just a perfect example. The kid sits on the couch, and there's this grandparent, she's walking around with a walker, and the kid's sitting on the couch playing a game, and the phone rings. Now, he's sitting right by the phone, and he won't even answer the phone. She literally has to get up, this old lady on her walker, and walks across the room and get it. And then he just says, well, while you're up, get me this and get me that. And she does it. And parents has allowed it. They've taught them. And then there's that child who is ungrateful, unthankful, and that's where it starts. You're allowing it. And they've teaching kids that parents have no rights. They have all the society, the system, the government is teaching children. You have that your parents have no rights over you. You own your parents. Your parents don't. Your parents are not your parents. Their parents are somebody that is there to take care of you, and for basically you owe them no respect. That's what society is teaching, and a lot of people can't see it. Well, that's my opinion anyway. And then they're wondering why children are acting out on it, that are ungrateful and unthankful. But that's a narcissistic behavior that's being taught to them. I mean, seriously, y'all. They think they're so special that they don't even have to work for what they're given, or they're special. Anyway, and a child should have a healthy self-image, but they should also learn that the power of being grateful and thankful for things. And that has a whole lot of humility in it, and has a whole lot of love in just being thankful and grateful. But narcissists, they have such an exaggerated sense of self-importance that it's become some kind of fantasy. Even sexually, you see a lot of people out there. It's just they get these women because are men, and well, God says it's silly women and silly men, and they get these women and men. God describes it in the Bible. I mean, and the Bible's described as being tucked in, basically hooked. They don't know what they're doing by the flattery of the lips. They take them in there, and then they seduce them for the kill. Then they get them ready for the kill. Well, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. I mean, wow. Anyway, that's another thing too. I'm sorry. I'm getting off of it. In other words, they just live in this total fantasy world where they're basically, again, that God image is what I call it, and they're ungrateful and unthankful, and they think you owe them everything. You got to build them up. Okay, let's see here. Okay, unholy. All right, this is going over what I wanted to go for. Let me try to hurry this up. Okay, they think they're unholy. Paul says unholy. Well, okay, the person and what we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be holy, you know. And what holy is we got to, as one person says it, we got to become whole. That's part of becoming holy is becoming a whole person inside. This is finding the sense of our true self. We're becoming holy because we find our true self. And in finding our true self and becoming holy is when we comes back to the great commandments, when the Lord said all the commandments was based on these. Love the Lord your God with your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and your neighbor as yourself. That's finding your true self. That's becoming whole. That's finding the wholeness in it. But this isn't so with on narcissists. They don't find this wholeness. They don't find I don't know. Or if they're lacking the compassion, I don't really know what's going on. But they just seem to have nothing that's going to connect them with this becoming a whole person because they're such a false person. They've built this false self-image, really, a false love of themselves so much that they can't find this wholeness that they need to find. It's just basically a false self and with their God mentality, and that's what I call it again. Really, they're so focused. What it is somebody, and whenever a person is on a false self, it's because they're loving nobody but their self. They're so focused on, and I'm not talking about, when somebody's and don't get this mixed up, when somebody's in a point of need, when they've suffered a death or they've went to a Great Depression or trauma or something like that, yes, they're going to be about their self, dealing with things for a while. So don't get this messed up and get it to where when somebody's trying to deal with issues, it's all about their self. No, when you're going through an issue, you're going to be about trying to get a little bit better. They're going to be about themselves a little bit. So don't get that mixed up with the in general thing about what's going on. Okay? About the general characteristics of a narcissist. You don't want to get that mixed up with somebody who's in an actual space of depression or of healing or trying to get past the trauma or something like that. That's just a side note there. They're just basically narcissists is just, they're unholy. They just got this false sense of false love, false self. And, anything, basically, they're opposite of good in their motives. Okay, and Paul says, okay, I'm loving. He says, I'm loving. Well, let's see. I don't really think a narcissist felt like they were loved, even when they are loved. I don't think they perceive things like sometimes about being loved. They feel unloved. They don't feel like they are loved. So that's the reason I think they got to build up this self-love or the self-image of what love is. I don't know, but that's my thinking on it. Anyway, they're very self-centered people. So, and they are in love. And somebody that's really self-centered really lacks a lot of love. And I'm not saying everybody fits in the same, cookie mold. Everybody's a little bit different, to some point. So always remember that too. I think I don't know, I think they kind of, let's see, let me think on that one a minute. They're unloving. I guess they got their self-mask. You can go around and look and see. They know how to manipulate things to get it their way. And they've cut their feelings off, really. Like this, I know, like I said, a couple of them, and personally, and what they do is they seem like they cut their feelings off. Okay, sorry, phone call. Let's see. I don't remember where I was. Okay, let's see here. What do I want to say? I really think narcissists really is I think they're kind of afraid of, just afraid, really. I just think they're really scared people. So I think they kind of just hide their feelings, just kind of put them out, and then they're suspicious of anybody that's trying to show them any true feelings because they've cut themselves off from them. I don't know. I think that sometimes. I don't really know, but that's something we can check into and see what's going on there. But anyway, just they're about themselves and really unforgiving. And a lot of that's due to their crazy and magical thinking. They like I was telling about earlier, like they got their own ways of making things up. Like this one, they'll attack you with a knife, and then even though they're the ones that was doing the attacking, before it's all over with, somehow you're the one that picked up the knife and attacked them, even though that isn't accurate at all. That's the way they'll see it and they'll tell it. Or like if they're trying to there's a lot of different things. No, they can do something, and whatever they do that's hurtful or that can hurt you or hurt people and that you love, for some reason, by the time in their magical thinking, they've got it turned around to where they're the victim and you're the monster. And if they have siblings or children or siblings or friends that's younger than them, where they've got these that they will. Oh my stars. It's horrible. That's just something that it's really horrible. It's a horrible thing to be under a sibling or a child underneath that kind of thinking, magical thinking. Because they're unforgiving, and that's because really they made themselves out to be victims, and they've told themselves that the victims so long. Sometimes I believe they actually totally believe that they are the victims. I really totally believe it. I know I've dealt with some, and they totally actually believe that they're the victims, or like they're victims whenever people try to. When people try to stand up for themselves or defend themselves against them, for somehow they become the victims. So I don't really know. I've just literally seen that. What it is, they strive for perfection anyway, right? And I don't know. I really don't know, but I just do know that they're really unforgiving people. They really are. You know what? I'm just going to call that a part 1 here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish that up, starting with unforgiving on a segment 2 because of your narcissism. All right, love hugs. Love you because you are worth it. And a good, healthy kind of love. Bye-bye.